Okay, so you've created a wonderful paragraph. You've got all the parts that you need. You have this great thesis, sentence, claim, research evidence. You've quoted the poem in this case. You have some elaboration. You've explained how the evidence ties in with the thesis sentence here in purple, and you have a closing. So you've got really everything you need for a balanced paragraph. Only problem is you turn this one into the teacher and you get a C+. What happened? Well, let's take a look. There are a couple things going on here that could cause you to get a lower score than you might want. For one thing, and this is probably the most obvious, if you look up here at the word count, we've got 168 words out of 300. So we've fallen well short of the minimum word count. Teachers put that there for a reason. They want you to sort of elaborate, is the idea there. So even though you've got all the different parts, you just haven't gone into enough depth. And I'm going to show you now how you can make some revisions and modifications to the paragraph really easily, and it will get you a better score. So first of all, you got to decide where you're going to add to this paragraph, okay? I would say that the thesis, sentence, claim, as long as you're happy with it, as long as it's doing its job and answering the prompt, setting up what the paragraph is going to be about, you probably don't want to change that too much unless there's like grammar, spelling errors, things like that. The areas where you really can begin adding are going to be in your research, your evidence, your elaboration, your interpretation, and in your closing here. So one of the first tricks that we show kids is that go ahead and go to the three dots here in EssayPop, add an additional green research box, and add an additional purple interpretation elaboration box. See, the problem was before I did have evidence and I did have interpretation, but I just didn't have enough. So this method here, what you do is go ahead and read the literature and find another quotation, something different that's going to allow you to further make your point, as I've done here. So now I've taken another line from the poem, and that gives me more to talk about. So now I'm going to go down to my interpretation elaboration and say more and tie it together more elaborately. So now I can do my second round of elaboration interpretation, and as you can see there, we are developing a pattern of providing evidence in green, providing elaboration in purple, providing evidence in green, and providing more elaboration in purple. And as you can see up here, my word count now is 253 words out of the 300, so I'm getting a lot closer. Also, I'm being rewarded because I'm really digging more deeply into the literature by quoting it more than one time and explaining it consequently more than one time. So I'm almost there. Another place where I can definitely add word count and add to my analysis is in the closing. So here I've closed out my paragraph. It's not horrible. I mean, I am tying it to my thesis. It makes the paragraph feel finished. It's doing all the things that it needs to do. But frankly, at one sentence, it might be a little too short. What if I were to add sentence count to my closing and really end the conversation conversationally and give my readers something to think about? So by adding to my word count here in the closing, I now am above my minimum word count. I'm at 316 out of 300 now. And you can see it really has become a much more formidable paragraph. And it's simply done by adding an additional research area in green, an additional interpretation in purple, and finally elaborating on my closing. I'm absolutely allowed to do this. I have the time to do this. So when I am revising a paragraph and I want to make it move from a C+ to an A+, this is a great technique to use.